Welcome all to the first episode of the Elite Era podcast. I am your host, Mystic, and today on this very first edition of the podcast, we are going to be talking about the WWE 2019 Royal Rumble pay-per-view. We're going to be discussing all the matches from top to bottom, and overall thoughts on the show. I thought it was a pretty good show. There was a lot of great wrestling. The only thing I would say would hold it back is the length. This pay-per-view went about 4.5 hours or almost 5 hours. It was way too long for a pay-per-view. The WWE needs to cut these back a bit, but like an hour. Having two Rumbles, I guess it's kind of makes sense for these to make long, but I guess they could have dropped some of the matches or shortened them, or just moved them on to the next pay-per-view, Elimination Chamber or Fastlane. We have two pay-per-views before WrestleMania. Some of these matches could have been moved, like Bryan Styles. That could have had more time to be built, and given the match here, it wasn't received very well because of the spot it was given. But starting first from the bottom of the card, opening match we had was, first on the kickoff show, we had a few matches. We had one of the AOP man, I think it was Razor, teamed up with Scott Dawson because one of the AOP members is injured, so he teamed up with Scott Dawson against the Raw Tag Team Champions, Rude and Gable, in a losing effort. It was a throwaway match. The Raw Tag Team division is pretty awful right now. They're not doing much, which is why the Revival wants to leave and most likely go to AEW. So it was a pretty throwaway match. And after that, we had Shinsuke and Rusev. It was a pretty decent match. Those two have all right chemistry. It's just a decent kickoff show match. And Shinsuke actually regained the title from the United States Championship from Rusev after Rusev accidentally hit Lana off the apron, which allowed Shinsuke to hit the Kinshasa when Rusev's back was turned and regain the championship. And then Buddy Murphy retained his championship in a fatal four-way match with Akira Tozawa, Hideo Itami, and Kalisto. It was a pretty good match. High action, a lot of high pace action as expected from the guys of 205 Live. Just unfortunately, crowd, of course, was silent as always because the WWE always puts those guys on the kickoffs and doesn't let them have the time they need and doesn't give them enough exposure for the crowd to be invested in them. But starting off with the opening match of the show, we had Becky versus Asuka. Now this was a really good match. It went about 15 minutes. It had a really hot opening. Becky showing lots of fire. They started trading some strikes. They were mocking each other. Becky was really acting like a Rock type. A lot of people like to make the comparison to Stone Cold. Here she seemed a little bit more Rock. She was very cocky, very arrogant, taking it to Asuka. The story of the match was Becky was working over the left arm, setting up for that armbar, the disarmer, and Asuka was setting up for her submission hold, the Asuka lock. They were just targeting each other's body parts. At one point, Becky got a disarmer on the turnbuckle, which of course she had to break that because of the 5 count on the ropes. Asuka also goes for the armbar. She puts in an armbar on Becky. Becky countered that into a pin, and then Asuka transitioned that directly to the Asuka lock. It was a pretty good sequence. A lot of smooth transitions, which Becky was able to grab to the ropes. Then they end up on the apron, and they started trading blows to each other, knocking each other off. Asuka goes to what looks like a suplex, but I don't know if it was a botch, but they both sort of fell. She had Becky in a suplex position, but she raised her, but they both just fell over face flat on the floor off the apron. I don't know if that was intentional or that was a botch. And then they get back up on the apron. They back into the ring. They do the yay boo spot, or more of a yay spot, since both Asuka and Becky are very over in this match. So, and then that transitions into another disarmer attempt. Becky went for a lot of submissions. She went for the disarmer in here. Asuka counters that, hits a wicked kick, back kick right across the face to Becky. That gets her a near fall. They go to the top rope now, hitting each other. Becky hits a Bexploder from the top rope. Off the second rope, she hits Asuka with the Bexploder for another near fall. And then they go into a sequence where they use each other's finisher, and they just keep countering out of each other's finisher in sequences and chaining a lot of these submissions. It's a pretty good sequence. And then Asuka, at the end of that sequence, she locks in the Asuka lock, and she transitions it into a bridge. She flips over, and she rings Becky's neck back in the Asuka lock, and Becky taps. Asuka retains. A clean finish. A pretty interesting finish, considering Becky is most likely going to main event WrestleMania against Ronda Rousey, especially considering what happens later in the night. So it's pretty interesting for Asuka to go over clean here with no interference from Ronda, even though that story was already built in with Ronda costing Becky her title match last pay-per-view at TLC. It would make sense for her to come in and disrupt this one as well, so they had some kind of sweet finish. But nonetheless, it was a really good match, very good showcase for Asuka. Put over Asuka very strong. Successful first title defense. I hope she goes to WrestleMania as champion and maybe leaves, depending on who she competes against. It could be Charlotte, but if Charlotte's in that three-way, honestly, I have no idea which other member of the SmackDown Live women's division could even compete up to Asuka at this point. It might have to be another one of those multi-man matches that they love to do at WrestleMania for the women. Nonetheless, we moved on to the next match, which was a very fun match: Miz and Shane versus The Bar. So this Miz and Shane storyline, they're buddies now. You know, they're a duo with daddy issues, they call themselves. It's a pretty fun storyline, you know. Miz working face is pretty weird. He's such a good heel, and the last time he went for being a face when he had Ric Flair and stuff, it was pretty bad. Miz doesn't tend to work, but pairing off with Shane, I don't know, I guess this worked for me. They have really good chemistry, and they're really dynamic together. And this match showed it. It was really fun. Immediately, Shane just starts off tackling Sheamus like a lunatic, and he throws those rabbit punches he has, the worst punches in the wrestling business. He throws those punches, clocks Sheamus a bit, and they go to the outside, brawl for a bit. Bar set up the table, the announce table, to try to put powerbomb Miz through it, just like they did to Shane on SmackDown. And Shane comes over, breaks that up, and Miz sets up Cesaro onto the table for Shane to go up and hit his flying elbow off the top rope. Sheamus breaks that up. He saves Cesaro, but Shane goes off the top rope. Nonetheless, he takes out Sheamus on the outside with the flying clothesline. And then they brawl a bit more. They get back into the ring. Miz gets worked over a lot by The Bar. They do a lot of cutting the ring in half, keeping him on his side, tagging in and out. A lot of basic heel tag team stuff, which builds up the Shane McMahon hot tag, which Miz gets the hot tag to Shane. Shane goes in hot. He starts hitting all his moves, his that flying back elbow thing he does, his little punches, and then he gets Sheamus and Cesaro both in the and under the turnbuckle. He sets them both up for the coast to coast. He goes to the top. He goes to hit the coast to coast. Cesaro gets up, catches it in midair, and goes for the giant swing, which was a pretty long one. I think he held him there for like 15-20 seconds. Shane must have been dizzy as hell after that. But Shane gets up. He starts brawling with Cesaro a little bit more. Sheamus comes in, goes for a bro kick on Shane. Shane ducks. Sheamus lands a bro kick on Cesaro. Miz comes in, takes out Sheamus with a skull crushing finale, which allows Shane to go to the top rope, and he hits a shooting star press. That same shooting star press we saw him do against AJ Styles in WrestleMania was 33, I believe, the one in 2017. That same shooting star press that he missed, he actually lands it here. He hits the shooting star press and he pins Cesaro for the win. So a clean win here for Miz and Shane. But honestly, I really like this match, and I like the way it freshens up the tag team division. It's been pretty stale for the last few months. We've had Bar, Usos, and New Day, which are all great tag teams. They've all been great champions. But we've had a combination of those three for like the last 6 months, and it's like 20 different matches. We have them weekly on SmackDown and on pay-per-view. It's getting a little tiring, even no matter how good those matches are. Those matches were always fun to watch. It's just something new is always better. And this is what we got here, Miz and Shane, which I'm not sure how long this is going to last. I think the storyline they're going to go for, if Miz and Shane are in a title match at Mania, I guess they could do that, defending their SmackDown titles or competing for them if they've lost them by then. But I think the more obvious route they're going to go for this is Miz is going to turn on Shane, and that's going to set up their match, which honestly I don't know how I feel about that. I think I'd rather wait. I'd rather have this duo stick together. And if Miz is being like the manipulative mastermind, like the puppet master, if he's doing that, I would like to see him go for the world title. I want to see him manipulate, since Shane is an authority figure. He has power in the company. I like to see him convince Shane to allow The Miz to have a title shot, or maybe like Money in the Bank or something. Miz can win that. Shane can help Miz win Money in the Bank or something, and then once Miz has got what he wants, he'll turn on Shane. Maybe give him like that old Skull Crushing finale on the Money in the Bank briefcase he used to do back in like 2010 or whenever it was that he won the world title. So yeah, it was a pretty hot match, really fun. Miz and Shane, great team, and I'm pretty excited to see where this goes for Mania. See if it's a singles match or a tag. I think I'd prefer tag. Shane as a singles wrestler is not the best, but the way he works off Miz is awesome. Next here, third match we had, a really good match. Ronda and Sasha, they went about 20 minutes. This honestly was a really good match. The way they structured it, it was Sasha seemed like a legitimate threat. In the past, the competitors that Ronda's been against, besides Charlotte, they've all been not sort of cheap, but they've all had some kind of way to match Ronda. So Nia had her strength. Alexa, she had her cronies right against who she had, like Alicia Fox and Mickie James. She had those helping her in the back. Nikki Bella, she had Brie attacking from the outside, using heel tactics. But here, Sasha really held her own. They went the full 20 minutes, and Sasha gave it to her good. So they start off the match, mocking each other, taunting. And Sasha hits Three Amigos. She goes for that Eddie Guerrero tribute. Hits a Three Amigos on Ronda. They go onto the outside. Ronda starts hitting some strikes on Sasha. Sasha ducks. Ronda punches the post. She punches out that LED board, which is really cool. They actually edited the LED board to be broken. It was it glitched out into static. It was pretty cool. And then Sasha, back in the middle of the ring, Sasha goes for this kind of armbar move she does. It wasn't the bank stickman. I don't think she's done the submission move before, but the way she basically grabbed, she wrenched back Ronda's arm, and then from there she has one arm on Ronda's arm, and then the other arm she grabs Ronda's wrist and just bends it back. It was a pretty brutal looking submission. And then from there, Ronda goes to the outside. They brawl. Ronda breaks out. I think she grabbed the rope or something. She breaks the hold. They go on to the outside. Ronda locks in the arm bar on the outside, and Sasha taps out. But of course, they're on the outside. You can't tap out outside of the ring. So Ronda throws Sasha back in. She goes for another attempt. They have a series of reversals, reversing each other's moves, reversing submissions. This is kind of very the two matches with this and the Asuka Becky match were pretty similar in the way they utilize submissions, since all four women have a submission based finisher. So it's pretty cool how they used their transition from one move to another in submissions. So they reverse each other a little bit until Sasha lands into the bank statement. And at one point, a piece of her ring gear was being ripped off and it was hanging off her body, the rest of her gear. And she uses that and she puts it around Ronda's mouth. And she kind of chokes her out with it, to the point where I guess even commentary was mentioning it, like that's an illegal weapon. And the ref was telling her to stop. I don't know, I guess, your clothes, I guess, doesn't count as a foreign object. Basically, she was choking her out with that. Ronda was able to break out of that, and then Ronda, he hit her Piper's Pit, that Samoa drop move she does, the twisting one. She hits the Piper's Pit. Yes, that was her third one in the match, and she pins Sasha. Clean, another clean finish. I guess no one expected Sasha to win here. I guess it could have made sense for Charlotte or Becky to come out and cost her the match, but I don't know how that would lead to a WrestleMania match, unless maybe Becky beat Asuka for the title and Ronda would go on to win the Rumble. But that's not what happened. Ronda retained here. And a really good match with Sasha. Sasha really brought her game. Sasha really looked like a star in this match. Even though Sasha's most likely not going to be part of the singles division for a while, she's probably going to be the main focus of that women's tag division with Bayley. They're probably going to win the Elimination Chamber and be the very first women's champions of the era, and they'll probably have a WrestleMania match with God knows who, maybe the Bellas or Trish and Stratus, since they want to go for the mainstream appeal, or maybe someone like the Iconics or Mandy and Sonya Absolution. I guess that was her old name. It could be something like that. But after the match, Ronda tries to show some respect to Sasha. Sasha just walks away. It's kind of weird. They kind of dragged this out a bit. Felt a little bit too long, with Sasha just standing there with like this weird look on her face. And she goes back up to Ronda. I guess just shake her hand again, and then Sasha holds up the 4 horsewoman symbol, puts it in her face, and walks off. So I thought this was a pretty good foreshadowing for that 4 horsewoman match that hopefully we'll get. Ronda reportedly she's leaving after Mania this year to start a family with her husband and living on a farm for a bit. So she'll probably be out, and the other 3 are obviously still in NXT. So maybe that could be turn out for the better. Gives them another year in NXT to develop and become amazing wrestlers. So, and then eventually on the main roster, like at a Mania, or maybe it can be a Survivor Series match, we'd have that amazing 4-on-4 tag match between the 4 horsewomen of MMA and the 4 horsewomen of WWE. So moving on, now we have the Women's Royal Rumble match. This match was, it went pretty long. First half wasn't that exciting. We didn't have a lot of big name talent coming out early on. It wasn't until it was something like around number 19 until Charlotte came out. But numbers 1 and 2 in this match, Lacey Evans and Natalya. Natalya was the Iron Woman in this match. I think commentary said she broke Sasha's record from last year. Natalya made it to like the final 6 or something like that. She lasted almost an hour. So, good effort from her. And number 1, Lacey Evans. Lacey Evans, I thought was very impressive in this match. She really had a star-making performance here. She had a good showdown with Charlotte, where she really looked like a star, even though she looked like a Charlotte clone. The way they presented her in this match, it kind of shows that they have big plans for her in the future. Maybe if she was on SmackDown, if she had lands there, she could be taking on Asuka. I could totally see that. An Asuka and Lacey Evans match if they build her up right. And that could be the Mania match. But anyways, we start with the first couple competitors. Lacey, Natalya comes in. Mandy Rose, Liv Morgan comes in number 4. Immediately is eliminated, thrown out. She goes for Natalya. Natalya immediately just throws her out. Number 5, 6, and 7 come out. Mickie James are removed. Billie Kay. Billie Kay has a spot where she stands on the outside. She refuses to get into the ring until Peyton comes out, which is a pretty funny spot, especially it sets up for next number 8, which was Nikki Cross. Nikki Cross comes out. She stands on the outside next to Billie, and she attacks her, throws her against the barricade. And she goes in the ring and starts like tearing down the house, starts attacking everyone. And then Billie, out of anger, comes in the ring too and starts attacking Nikki. So they have a little brawl there for a bit until number 9 comes out, which is Peyton. So Peyton comes in, the Iconics versus Nikki. I think they had a feud in NXT. So the retell of that. They go at it for a bit until number 10 comes out, Tamina. Well, nothing to say about Tamina. And then number 11 comes out, Xia Li. I guess NXT wrestler, first ever, I think Michael Cole said on commentary, first ever Chinese woman to wrestle in the WWE. Which I guess was pretty cool. This was her main roster debut, or she was probably just a one-off, like most NXT call-ups are in the Rumble, most cameos. But she was pretty cool. She actually showed a lot of fire in this match. Showed a lot of good athleticism too. She starts taking out everybody. Mickie James gets thrown out in the mix-up. I think maybe the Iconics were out, or Nikki. It was around that scuffle. Mickie got thrown out. Number 12 comes out, Sarah Logan. She just goes in there and does Sarah Logan things. I don't know what more to say about Sarah Logan. Number 13 comes out. Unlucky number 13, Charlotte Flair, of course. One of the 2 favorites to win this match. She comes in and starts tearing down house. Starts bodying everyone. Honestly, looking at the in-ring, Charlotte really overshadowed most of the women in this match. It wasn't until until I guess Nia and Becky and all those other women came out, that it didn't look like anyone else had a feasible chance to win this Rumble besides Charlotte at that point. We had a spot where Nikki taken out by both Iconics, and then Lacey Evans takes out both Iconics, and then Charlotte takes out Xia and Tamina, so they're both going strong. Again, Lacey Evans, I thought she put in a hell of a performance in this match. She was really entertaining throughout. Somewhere in the beginning, she actually hit a pretty amazing moonsault to Natalya off the top rope. I don't really watch NXT, so I wasn't very familiar with Lacey Evans, but from what she showed here in the Rumble, I was actually very impressed with her, and I think she has a lot of good things in the future. She might be the most successful out of the 6 NXT calls up that were announced back in December. So next we had number 14 comes out. This is Kairi Sane. She immediately comes in, starts clearing house. She throws out Sarah Logan, by Sarah Logan, and then 15 comes out, Maria Kanellis. This might have been her very first match. I think they mentioned on commentary she was in the Evolution Battle Royal. Besides that, I don't think she's had a match on the main roster that's a proper match. Besides just being thrown into the Battle Royal Rumble, I guess just to fill the numbers. But she comes in. She has a spot with Alicia. Oh no, never mind. Alicia comes a little bit later. But she just goes in and she starts attacking. Naomi comes in. Number 16, Naomi and Mandy, they have their storyline going on in SmackDown with Mandy trying to seduce Jimmy or Jay, whichever one's married to Naomi, trying to seduce her. So this grudge feud goes on here in the Rumble. Naomi goes straight for her, eliminates her, throws her out. Naomi gets knocked off the apron. She lands into a powerbomb position on Mandy. Mandy powerbombs her onto the barricade. Naomi holds on, kicks Mandy away, stands up on the barricade, and she does the spot that Kofi did a few Rumbles ago. She gets on the barricade and she leaps from the barricade to the steel steps, and she gets back in the ring. And then Mandy just comes in and eliminates her anyway, so I guess kind of just a spot just to have. And then a little bit after that, Charlotte and Lacey have their standoff, going toe-to-toe. They share a few blows. And Charlotte just takes out Lacey Evans, who at this point I think she was 30-something minutes. I think nearly 40 minutes in the match. Really impressive showing by Lacey. I think she has a bright future ahead of her. Coming in the next few entrants, 17, 18, and 19, we had Candice LeRae, Alicia Fox, and Kacy Catanzaro. So Candice LeRae from NXT, she's been involved sort of in that whole Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa storyline. She hasn't really had a proper push or a proper feud. So she comes in as a face. She was face here. I'm pretty sure she's a heel in NXT with the way she's aligned with Gargano now. Whatever he is, anti-hero, vigilante, whatever you want to call him, heel. But she comes into the face and just doing her thing. Alicia Fox comes out. She tries forming some sort of alliance with Maria Kanellis. She puts the captain hat on her, and then Maria just stomps on the hat and stuff, and they brawl it out a little bit. And then comes out Kacy Catanzaro, which I believe was one of the winners of American Ninja Warrior, I think they said. Never seen her wrestle before this match. I think she honestly put on a pretty impressive performance as well. The athleticism she showed off in this match was amazing. At one point, I think Alicia Fox was going to throw her out the ring. She does a full-on handstand. She grabs on. She's a very, very small woman. She was like Zelina Vega size, but I think even skinnier. She was like a twig, but which also allowed her. She was very flexible and athletic and stuff. Alicia at one point tries to throw her over the top rope, and she grabs onto the top rope, and she does a sort of like a handstand and a split while holding onto the top rope. It was also pretty impressive to get back into the ring. So she comes in, she does her thing. She lasted a little bit too. And then we had Maria Kanellis thrown out by Alicia after the little scuffle thing with the hat and stuff. We had number 20 and 21 come out. Zelina Vega and Ruby Riott. Ruby Riott came out with the Riott Squad. They start, laying out everyone. They drag people out from under the ring, from under the bottom rope, and grab them and just start taking it to them on the outside. Zelina goes under the bottom rope and hides under the ring for a while, which, pays off in a spot later. And then we have Alicia and Candice LeRae after being beat up by the Riott Squad a little bit. Ruby takes them out, and then Ruby takes out Kairi Sane. And on the outside, we have the Riott Squad just beating on Kairi Sane. And so number 22 comes out, which is Io Shirai, which is Kairi Sane's best friend in NXT. Honestly, I think these two kind of work well together. I think they should be called up. The NXT Women's Division is pretty stacked right now. They have Bianca Belair and Shayna Baszler and the other 4 horsewomen of MMA. I don't see them leaving anytime soon. I think they could do with, and Kairi Sane's already had her time. She's already become champion and stuff. Io Shirai hasn't had her chance, but I don't think she really needs it. So I think should come up and be a part of the tag division. They could be really good opponents and put on amazing matches like Becky, Bailey, and Sasha. Put on some good matches, flesh out the division a little bit more. But she comes in, she starts taking it to the Riot Squad. She hits a moonsault worse than Charlotte's. Meaning, there's 3 members of the Riot Squad. She completely misses every single one of them and goes down the middle. I think she barely clips one of them with her arm. But she does that moonsault. And then we have Rhea Ripley comes out next. Rhea Ripley, former NXT UK Women's Champion. She comes out. She starts cleaning house, taking it to everyone. She takes out Casey Catanzaro, who again had a pretty impressive performance here in the Rumble. And then we have Dana Brooke getting taken out by Rhea Ripley. Dana came out 22. I forgot to mention that. She came out too. And she just starts doing her thing. You know, Dana's just there to fill a spot, I guess. Rhea takes her out. And then from under the ring, Zelina Vega pops her head out. I think she starts laughing at someone. I think it was Dana. Dana gets eliminated, and Zelina, who's been hiding in the ring, pokes her head out from under the apron, starts laughing at her. And from the other side of that same apron, you see Hornswoggle's head pop out. And honestly, I thought it was a pretty funny spot. Zelina runs out from under the ring, starts screaming, running away from Hornswoggle, just running after her, chasing her, chases her into the ring, only for Rhea Ripley just to take out Zelina and throw her out. And then Hornswoggle just goes into chase to the back. You know, a pretty funny spot for Hornswoggle there. Pretty weird, but I guess it's funny. You know, Hornswoggle looking like a pretty rapey stalker dude, but you know, it's Hornswoggle. He's always been a comedy character, and you know, it doesn't hurt Zelina that much. She's not that much of a competitor on the main roster during SmackDown, anyways. More of a manager for Andrade. And anyways, we go on to number 25 and 26. We have Sonya Deville comes out, you know, to no reaction because it's Sonya Deville, unfortunately. You know, she's pretty good. Honestly, I think she could have a pretty good future with Mandy Rose in that tag division as well. If it's a multi-brand, which I would assume it is. You know, they're like the Iconics, but better. Pretty good heel tag team. I think they have pretty good chemistry, so she might be going places. Number 26 comes out, Alexa Bliss. The returning Alexa Bliss. She comes out, starts cleaning house, immediately throws out Sonya, starts brawling with everyone. 27 comes out, Bayley. You know, lucky number 27. Bayley comes out, starts attacking everyone, starts, you know, hitting her trademark moves. Number 28 comes out, Lana. Lana, who, you know, earlier in the day on the kickoff show was killed by Rusev because Lana is apparently a pathetic wrestler, so she dies by taking a bump. So she comes out limping. She literally takes like 3 seconds for each step. She's over here limping down the ramp. So meanwhile, while that happens, Bayley gets in there. She starts, you know, cleaning house. She takes out Ruby and Rhea Ripley, throws those 2 over the top, eliminates Sam. We have 29. Nia Jax comes in. It's funny. Nia Jax shows up a little bit later. Nia Jax comes in, number 21. She attacks Lana on the outside, who's injured on the ramp. She comes in. She starts cleaning house again. She eliminates Io and then Natalya, who at this point has been there for about an hour. So pretty good showing for Natalya, being the Iron Woman of the Rumble so far, holding that record. Number 30 comes out, Carmella, who had obviously won her number 30 spot from the Mixed Max Challenge. I was kind of hoping R-Truth to come out here for his, you know, my bad spot, for him to try to be a part of the Women's Rumble, but I kind of like what they did. They saved for later with him. So Carmella comes out, she enters the Rumble, and then Becky Lynch comes out. Becky Lynch comes out to go to Lana, which we have the refs around Lana tending to her and stuff. She comes in, starts talking to the ref, hey, let me in. So the refs, I guess they agree to it. They play Becky's music. Becky's the new number 28, I guess, which was Lana's. Yeah, Lana's was number 28. So Becky comes in, starts clearing house. We have Alexa Bliss also clearing house. She takes out Ember Moon, and then Bayley and Carmella, they kind of work together, have a little duo. And they take out Alexa. Charlotte boots out Carmella and Bayley, and then we're down to the final 3, which is Nia, Becky, and Charlotte. They have a pretty good sequence. Nia goes, she teases the face breaker spot. She holds Becky there for, where I felt it was like 2 seconds too long. She holds her there for like a good 6 seconds, just with her face in the air, oh, I'm going to punch you, but first I have to wait for Charlotte to come, and then, Charlotte hits her with that big boot. And then, so Charlotte takes Nia over the top rope, but she's still on the apron. They start brawling a little bit, and then Becky just comes out from under and sweeps Nia's leg out from under her and eliminates her. And so Nia, of course, out of anger, attacks Becky and starts throwing her around. So then we have an injured Becky against Charlotte. Becky, who's already been in a match earlier in the day. And I guess Charlotte, who has been in the Rumble for quite a bit of time now. She was number 13. They have a really good back and forth. It was actually this final part of the Rumble, the second, this last quarter. It was honestly really entertaining. Charlotte and Becky, honestly, either one could have won the Rumble. I had no idea. Honestly, I was thinking Charlotte was going to win here because this Rumble was going on first. And it wouldn't be bad for her, for her to get booed out of the building if she eliminated Becky, which she would have. It wouldn't have been bad since they weren't ending it on this note. But no, after a sequence of moves, Becky throws out Charlotte, becoming the winner of the second ever Women's Royal Rumble. And of course, not tonight. It wasn't confirmed tonight who she's going to choose. But of course, she's going to choose Ronda Rousey. And they're going to go have their WrestleMania main event in the main event, as in the last the last match going on last in the card. Which is cool, If anyone deserves it, it's those two. Ronda's been putting on killer matches all year. Becky's become the hottest thing in the business. Charlotte also has kicked on to another gear. I think Ronda and Becky right now, I think they're hotter than Charlotte. They're on fire right now. They have lots of momentum. But I think Charlotte's like the best pure wrestler in the female division right now. That match she had with Ronda at Survivor Series, I think that really showed how good she is. She's really good at bringing out the drama in a match. She makes matches have a big fight feel, which is very important. So honestly, I wouldn't mind her being in that match and making it a triple threat. And of course, it gives her also the accolade of being one of the first women to main event of WrestleMania. So that was good, a really good feel-good moment for Becky, having lost to Asuka earlier in the night. It's kind of erased here. She doesn't lose any credibility. She comes out strong. And then we had Daniel Bryan and AJ Styles up next in the death spot. Crowd was pretty checked out for this match after just going through a Rumble and, having Becky win. That takes a lot of energy out of people. And they had a pretty good match, honestly. Fortunately, crowd wasn't into it, but they tried all the best they could to get the crowd in. They have a good opening sequence. So typical, what you expect from Daniel and AJ, two of the best wrestlers right now in WWE, if not in the world. Really good technical wrestling. They had a really good opening sequence. They start taking it to the outside, brawling a little bit. At one point, Bryan throws AJ into the post, gives him a bloody nose, showing some blood. And then they just start telling a simple story of working over a body part. Of course, AJ going for the knee, setting up that calf crusher, and then Bryan going for the arm and the neck area, setting up the label lock on AJ. So these two have a pretty good, decent match. They got a lot of back and forth, a lot of striking. And then this leads, at one point in the match, AJ teases a second rope Styles clutch, which probably would have killed someone. But for the finish, we have a ref bump. Ref gets bumped. I think it was a Pele kick. AJ goes for this Pele kick. Bryan moves. He hits the ref. AJ hits Styles Clash on Daniel. He goes for the pin. Ref's not there. And then Eric Rowan comes out. Which is pretty funny. Eric Rowan, who's obviously been sidelined ever since he got injured after in the SummerSlam match, I think, with the New Day. When he was tag team champion with Luke Harper as part of the Bludgeon Brothers. So he makes his return. No Luke Harper, just Eric Rowan. But he comes in, he attacks AJ. He hits him with like this choke slam move, I guess as his finisher. He hits him with that. He rolls out of the ring. Bryan covers AJ for the 1-2-3, and Bryan retains his title. I guess there's a lot of interesting things they could do here. Obviously, back in, 2013, 2014, Bryan had that pretty awesome feud with Bray Wyatt where he was part of the Wyatt family. and he was a Wyatt family member. Maybe this could be a sort of Wyatt family reunion. Bray on Raw is not doing much. Well, I don't think he's even been on Raw TV in a few months. I don't know if he's injured or if they're just not using him. I can't remember a single thing he's done since his breakup with Matt Hardy. Well, not even a breakup. Matt Hardy just got injured and almost retired, even though he said he's coming back. But ever since that tag team they've had, ever since they lost to, I think it was like the B team on Extreme Rules or something like that in the summertime, Bray hasn't really been doing anything. Maybe a change of scenery would be good for him. Throw him over to SmackDown, team him back up with Wyatt and Harper, and put him behind Bryan, who is the the world champion right now. Wyatt and Rowan and Harper can go for the tag titles. Maybe there can be a capture all the gold stable. Right now we have heel Shinsuke as champion, so maybe if Rusev takes that U.S. title back off him, Bray can go off for the U.S. title and win that off him, and you can have the whole stable. If that's what they're going for, Luke didn't show up, so maybe that's not what they're going for. Maybe it's just Rowan. Maybe Rowan's acting on his own accord, and it's just going to be them as a duo, or Rowan would just be a sort of bodyguard for Bryan. Which this is pretty interesting going forward, because right now, obviously we have the Universal title picture set for Mania, but the WWE Championship picture right now, it's not really set in stone. I guess possible candidates we have are Cena. A lot of people have been talking about Cena coming back, but I don't really see that happening. It's more of it is a big match and really good for the mainstream appeal, but Cena's always busy with his filming and his Hollywood stuff, so I don't see him coming back for that match. AJ, that's been done now. I guess if they would want to, they could stretch that out to Mania, but we have 2 pay-per-views before then. I don't know what they're gonna do in those 2 months. But giving Daniel a bodyguard, it makes whatever goes forward more interesting, because obviously if he has a bodyguard, there's gonna be a reason for it, reason why he has it. Maybe he goes up against a bigger guy. Maybe Lars debuts as face or something, or we have like an NXT call-up. But anyways, after that match, we had the Universal title match between Lesnar and Finn Balor. It was an okay match. I guess it was a weaker version of the match type that Lesnar had with AJ and Bryan at those last 2 Survivor Series, which are amazing matches. Bryan and Lesnar, that was personally my favorite main roster match of last year. Probably even WWE match of last year, honestly. Either that or Almas and Gargano from that first takeover in January. That was a really good one. But he had amazing matches with those guys, Brock Lesnar's very good at telling the David and Goliath story. Big man, little man. He's very good at being dominating. And then he's probably one of the best sellers in the business. The way he sells, it feels so legit. And it legitimizes his opponent as well, which makes him very more credible, which is kind of what happened here. So we have Finn coming out hot. He starts giving it to Brock, and then Brock just immediately cuts him off, and he starts doing his thing, his suplexes, Suplex City. Just starts checking him around the ring. Lesnar is obviously, he's getting tired with each suplex he does. Commentary said on the story, like, it's taking a lot out of Lesnar to do this. He has injured ribs, which Balor goes to work on later, which obviously is a good setup for the coup de grace. Lesnar gets taken out. Finn takes advantage of this, hits his moves, hits a slingshot, and then he gets cut off by a massive clothesline. Brock just clotheslines the hell out of Finn, takes him down. Brock throws him around a little bit more. He goes for the F5. His knee gives out, so he waits a little to go for the F5. He gets Finn back up. He goes for it. This allows Finn to reverse that into a DDT, similar to how Eddie did all those years ago. I saw this spot and I was hoping that was what they were going to go for, but he reverses the F5. He DDT spikes Brock, and then Balor just starts working over him, starts giving it to Brock, starts kicking him in the midsection, works over him, throws him to the outside. He has 3 consecutive dives. They get back in the ring. Finn keeps going. Adam trying to gain momentum, and then Lesnar catches him in the Kimura lock, which we haven't seen this move in a while. He isn't. Off the top of my head, I don't know if he's done it in the Roman matches, but I think he did it against Samoa Joe, and that was in 2017. So he hasn't finished matches off in this while. Lesnar catches him in the Kimura lock. Finn taps out a little bit. After a while in the hold, he has to tap out. Lesnar goes over, of course. It's been speculated the match, Rollins versus Lesnar for the Universal title at Mania. So obviously he was going to retain here. And then post-match, this is kind of threw little things out of the water. Maybe they do this in the next few pay-per-views or something. Unless the plans change, I could see Rollins going for Daniel in that match, since Rollins, spoiler, he won the Rumble. I could see him challenging Daniel and moving over to SmackDown. And then for WrestleMania, we can get Demon Balor versus Brock Lesnar, because here in the post-match, Lesnar just he does a post-match beatdown on Finn for no reason, setting up for possibly a rematch in the future, which I'd really like to see. The Beast versus the Demon. It'd be such a huge way to put Finn over if Brock's leaving soon. So I could see that at Mania happening. That'd be a really cool match, especially if Finn goes over. That'd be an amazing pop. And now for the main event of the night, we had the Men's Royal Rumble. So we start this match with obviously entrance number 1 and 2. Number 1 comes out, Elias. He's already in the ring. He starts doing his whole shtick, his promo, his song. And so he's interrupted by number 2, which is JEFFJARRETT, Jeff Jarrett. He comes out. He starts doing his whole shtick, his A&I great thing he does with the crowd. He offers to do a duet with Elias. They start singing together. They perform until Elias is supposed to be a babyface now, I think. So it was kind of weird. He was very heelish in this opening sequence here. He attacks Jeff. He takes him out. He smashes a guitar over his head and throws him out. So there's our first cameo of the Men's Rumble. Jeff Jarrett gets thrown out, who looks surprisingly well for how old he is. I think he's like 50 something. He looked like he could still go in the ring. We have number 3, Nakamura comes out, winner of last year's Rumble and new United States champion. He comes out, starts doing his thing. Number 4, Kurt Angle. Kurt Angle comes out. He hasn't been seen on WWE TV since, I think, the Raw after TLC, where I think that's the episode where the McMahons announced the new era thing. So he comes back, starts doing his thing, starts doing some Germans and stuff. Big E comes out number 5. And then shortly after that, Nakamura eliminates Kurt. So, Kurt was in there for, I guess, the pop. I don't really see Kurt doing anything huge in the future. Dude's getting old. You can see the way he moves in the ring. He's not like he used to be. I doubt he'll have another Mania match this year. But then we have number 6, our first NXT appearance in the Men's Rumble. We have Johnny Gargano. Recent NXT North American champion. He just won it off Ricochet last night in that amazing match. Probably match of the night yesterday on that TakeOver card. Possibly match of the weekend. I don't know. I have a strong bias for Rumble matches. Rumble's my favorite gimmick match. Rumbles are always so fun to watch. These, even though they felt a little bit long, especially the women's, they still flew by us. But this Men's Rumble felt like it was 30 minutes. It flew by so fast. Those 90-second intervals, I don't know how true they were being to those. At some, I felt like it was only a minute. But anyways, Gargano comes out, starts doing all his moves, trademark moves. Jinder comes out. Jinder starts hitting his stuff. Former WWE champion Jinder Mahal gets in, does a few stuff for like 15 seconds, and then immediately Gargano just throws him out of there, which shows how important he is. And then we have like the Singh brothers in there, and they get thrown around a little bit. We have number 8 come out, Samoa Joe. He comes in, immediately starts wrecking house. He throws out Big E. Number 9 comes out, Kurt Hawkins. Mr. Whatever the opposite of undefeated is, unwinnable. He is, 250 matches on his streak, losing. Looking to win his big one right here in the Rumble. He goes in. Immediately gets just back out. And then he hides under the ring just like Zelina did. Hornswoggle's not under there, so I don't think he has anything to fear. Now, number 10 comes out. Seth Rollins from number 10 position. Obviously, he goes on to win this one. He puts in a pretty good performance in this match. He takes a hell of a beating, especially later on. number 11 comes out, Titus O'Neil. Titus, of course, playing up on his Greatest Royal Rumble thing. Titus World Slide, where he slid in the ring. He runs towards the ring. He stops, takes a few steps back before he reaches the ring. Makes sure he doesn't fall under again. And I think, honestly, I think it would have been pretty lame if they redid that spot of him, tripping again. But the way they did it, I think it was really clever and pretty funny, the way they did his spot. Instead of him accidentally going under the ring, he does it purposely this time. Hawkins, who's been hiding under the ring, peeks his head out. And so Titus O'Neil goes under the ring for him. So they get that awesome visual of Titus going under the ring again, which is pretty funny. And they crawl out the other side. They get in the ring. Hawkins eliminates Titus immediately. And then immediately right after that, Joe throws out Hawkins, takes him out. Number 12, we have Kofi, the MVP of the Rumble. I think they said this was his 12th consecutive Rumble, which, he's going up. He's catching up there with Kane. I think Kane holds the record with 15 or something. Which honestly, Kofi might surpass. He only needs four more years, so 2023. As long as they can keep coming up with spots for Kofi to do, he's going to be in the Rumble. Number 13, Unlucky 13 comes out. Mustafa Ali, who obviously has beef with Joe, so he goes immediately for him. He starts brawling with Joe. They have their little spot in the Rumble. And then he takes it to Nakamura, throws Nakamura out. We have 14, Ambrose comes in. Ambrose, honestly, I was a bit surprised and kind of disappointed, even though their feud was pretty awful. The Seth and Ambrose feud, they didn't really show anything here, Ambrose didn't fire out on Seth. Seth didn't fire out on Ambrose. It was pretty underwhelming the way they just played that. But he throws Kofi over the top rope. Kofi lands on the floor. One of his feet touches, and then he props up his leg, his other foot against the ring, and he sort of just rolls alongside the apron until he gets to the steps. He gets up, and that's his Rumble spot. His guaranteed Rumble spot that we always get every year. And we have a little bit more sequences here. Ambrose throws out Johnny Gargano, put in a good performance in it, showing what he can do in the Rumble. We have number 15 come out, No Way Jose, with his conga line. He comes in, he immediately gets clotheslined by Joe. I don't know if that beats Santino's record, but he's up there, probably 1 or 2 second. But he gets thrown immediately and just goes back partying with the conga line, No Way Jose, who hasn't been on Raw in 8 months, just doing his random thing here at the Rumble. Number 16 comes out, Drew McIntyre, one of the favorites to win this Rumble. He comes in, he starts clearing house, he starts hitting claymores on everyone. He has a pretty cool standoff with Joe, and then just immediately hits him with the claymore too, similar to that spot they had at Survivor Series, where McIntyre just laid him out and pinned him. So he does that. He starts cleaning house. Number 17 comes out, Xavier Woods, and while Xavier Woods is making his way to the ring, Drew throws out Kofi. Kofi lands on Xavier, who saves Kofi, of course, his pal. He grabs him by the legs. He gives him a bit of a reverse piggyback ride, and he takes him there to the steps with Drew's just in the ring looking at him. And they get in the ring, and immediately Drew just runs at him and does a double clothesline, throws both of them out. So, thank you for coming, New Day. They were a dark horse in this match. I saw a lot of people speculating, maybe New Day would win, given that they are a pretty good a good foil to Daniel Bryan. Daniel Bryan, anti-consumerism and all this stuff, and New Day bleed consumerism. They store pancakes, they sell bootios, they sell merch, and they're just guys, having fun. They're I guess they're the perfect foil to Daniel, but no, they just immediately thrown out here in the Rumble. We have number 18 coming out, Pete Dunne, current NXT UK champion, going 600 something days strong. He's probably gonna hold it for another 600 days, or until whatever Walter challenges him. Honestly, probably Mania weekend. If they hold another NXT UK takeover, or if they just put that on the NXT takeover card, whatever they decide to do with that. But yeah, Pete Dunne comes in. He starts doing his awesome spots, breaking people's fingers. he starts hitting his moves. He squares off with Drew McIntyre. You know, Pete Dunne, you know, pretty strong guy and stuff, but like matching him up with Drew McIntyre, and you wouldn't expect Pete Dunne to do anything. He's just way smaller than him, but he grabs McIntyre's hands, starts working his fingers, starts doing the breaking finger spot, which is awesome. I love that spot. And then we have number 19 come out, Almas. You know, Almas comes out doing the spots. He was also another candidate to win this Rumble. I would have loved to see him win and have a match with Bryan or someone else, maybe if Bryan lost the title before then. But Almas, you know, he's a really good competitor. He's been having those amazing matches with Rey Mysterio on SmackDown Live recently. And I think in a year's time, he'll probably be a WWE champion. He should be, especially in this new era that they're trying to push. Number 20 comes out, Apollo Crews. He's just Apollo Crews. 21 comes out, Aleister Black, fresh off his NXT loss to Tommaso Ciampa last night for the NXT Championship. He comes out, starts giving it to people, and doing his strikes-based offense on everyone, starts kicking. At one point, he has a little exchange with Dean Ambrose. He has Ambrose against the ropes a little bit, dodges a move, and he hits the Black Mass on Ambrose to eliminate him. He does that. They do that thing with Kofi Kingston a lot too. Kofi Kingston's Trouble in Paradise. You know, someone will be 5 feet away from the ring, but if you get hit with that, you know, you automatically, like, it has amazing knockback. You fall back 5 feet and you just throw yourself over the top rope. So that's what Aleister did here to Ambrose. He hits him with the Black Mass. That eliminates Ambrose. Number 22 comes out, Shelton Benjamin. You know, just also we haven't seen him well on the ways here. But after Shelton Benjamin comes out, we have Mustafa and Joe who are brawling a little bit more. And Mustafa throws at Samoa Joe, you know, getting his vengeance for last week on SmackDown Live where Joe tapped him out in that match. So this feud continues, you know. Mustafa, the awesome underdog, gets this Rumble moment here with Joe throwing him out. Number 23 comes out, Corbin, which I think Corbin had the most heat all night, or at least in this match. Corbin, honestly, that guy is such a great heel, especially with what he does later. He has so much heel heat that people just hate him, and I think Barry Corbin's an amazing talent on this roster. I think he plays a very important role. He's such a good heat magnet. People genuinely hate the dude. He's really good at playing it up. The way just the mannerisms he does in the ring and his promos. I think he's a really good character. Number 24 comes out, Jeff Hardy, and Corbin sets up Black against the ropes, runs at him, hits him with a clothesline, throws out Aleister Black, which major heat. You know, Baron Corbin, this corporate dude, you know, Constable and Raw GM, you know, everyone's been hating him, and he throws out one of the most beloved baby faces in NXT, Aleister Black. So mega heat on him. Later on, Pete Dunne is thrown out by Drew McIntyre. So they start clearing the ring a little bit for these last few people. Number 25 and 26, we have Mysterio comes out, and then we have Bobby Lashley comes out, who is immediately also, he just comes in for a few seconds with Leo Rush. He comes in, starts doing a few moves, and then immediately Rollins grabs him and just throws him out, which of course upsets Bobby, you know, Bobby, current IC champion. He grabs Rollins, drags him out from under the bottom rope, sets up the announce table, and he puts him through it, which lays out Rollins for pretty much the rest of the match until the finale. So Rollins is laid out. He's been here at number 10. I think he actually put in a really good performance, and I think he played the babyface underdog part really well here. And then we have lucky number 27, Braun Strowman comes out. At this point, I thought maybe Braun Strowman would have had this just to keep adding to that mystical number 27. So Braun comes out and immediately he starts, doing his thing. Starts throwing out people. He throws out Corbin. He throws out Shelton Benjamin. He throws out Hardy. He just clears the ring, and now we're down to just a few people in the ring. We come out. Number 28 comes out. Dolph Ziggler. Dolph Ziggler comes out, immediately goes for Drew McIntyre. They start having a bit of an exchange. Ziggler hits a few super kicks, and he throws Drew out, which Pretty unfortunate. I would have loved to see Drew make it to the final four of this match. Ziggler was in that position instead. I would have much rather have Drew be in that spot. Ziggler, not much for him to do left. I don't think he needed the rub here. I think it would have been good for Ziggler, for Drew to Claymore kick him off the right apron or something. But nonetheless, number 29 comes out, Randy Orton. And then we have this pretty awesome spot in the ring. They do this Tower of Doom spot. I think it's Almas and Ali are on the turnbuckle. Almas sets up Ali for a superplex. And Braun Strowman comes in. He picks up Almas in the powerbomb position with Mustafa Ali still held up in a vertical suplex position. And then Mysterio goes to the top rope and hits a flying clothesline on Ali, knocking the whole tower down. Pretty awesome, Tower of Doom spot there that they do. And then we have number 30 comes out, R-Truth, who of course won his right to be in the Rumble during the Mixed Match Challenge. And we all knew R-Truth wasn't really going to be number 30. My prediction here was John Cena. John Cena was kayfabe injured by Drew McIntyre. But I guess he was doing some Hollywood things, filming a movie or something, so he couldn't be here. Which, false advertisement by WWE there. Promoting Cena for the Rumble just to take him out last minute. Because apparently, I guess, ticket sales weren't going so well. So they promoted him and just took him out. So R-Truth comes out, he's doing his thing, doing his what's up thing, and I knew someone was going to come out. And when Nia Jax came out, I was super confused. I was like, Nia, is she aligned with someone? Is Lars Sullivan about to come out? Is she helping out Lars Sullivan? Are they going to be some sort of a duo? No, Nia comes out, starts attacking Truth, throws him around a bit, hits a few moves, and then she takes his spot. So Nia Jax, I saw online someone mentioned that 20 years ago in the 1999 Rumble, Chyna became the very first woman to be in a Royal Rumble, and she came out number 30. And now we have Nia here 20 years later coming out the number 30 spot, being the fourth woman in the Rumble match. I think the other two were Beth Phoenix and Karma. So she comes in, starts destroying. She comes in, and at first it's the commentators try putting over this whole awkward situation. Oh, you can't hit a woman and stuff. Which of course it's Nia. She can take out most of these guys. What she does, she starts attacking people. Starts laying it in on guys. She actually even throws out Mustafa Ali. So Mustafa Ali goes first, throws her out. She has a bit of a standoff with Randy Orton, and pretty funny spot. Randy, so they're just staring at each other, and Randy goes for an RKO. He just doesn't care. Randy goes to that RKO. Nia reverses. She beats down Randy a bit, sets him up on the ropes in the 619 position. Ray comes in. She urges Ray. She's like, "Oh, come on, Ray, go ahead and hit your 619." Ray goes to the ropes. Nia comes in the spot, takes him out, and then Randy hits Nia, sets her up for the 619 position, and Ray's just like, "Oh, well, she attacked me. I guess it's all right then. I guess hey, if she hit me, I can hit her back." So Ray runs the ropes, hits the 6-1. First Ziggler hits a super kick on her. Ziggler is the one actually who put him in that position, not Randy, my bad. Ziggler hits a super kick, puts Nia in that position. Ray goes for the 619, hits 619 on Nia. She bounces back. She's doing it like a Rumble. In normal matches, you get hit with the finisher, you lay it on the floor, but in the Rumble, you stand up, you do that dazed position thing. So she's dazed, and then Randy just comes up from behind her and hits this awesome RKO. I don't know, I feel like Randy enjoyed this more than he probably should have, but Randy comes in, just hits an awesome RKO, and then with the help of the others, Rey Mysterio throws out Nia Jax. So, Nia, pretty cool showing here in the Men's Rumble. I think she did alright. I think she's the only person to compete in 2 Rumbles in the same night. Of course, not in the same Rumble. That goes to Mick Foley, who entered in the same Rumble 3 times because of his different personas. But yeah, she was in 2 Rumbles the same night. Pretty cool thing for her. And then we have Rey Mysterio eliminated by Randy Orton. Randy immediately goes for Ray, and then once Randy throws out Ray, Almas comes out from behind, throws him out. Ziggler, who's Strowman, who was on the outside for whatever reason, he didn't get taken out. He runs in the ring. With Ziggler and Almas are in the ring. He starts beating them down, throws both of them out. and then Seth comes in. He's injured earlier. He comes in, he starts taking it to Strowman. I think this last sequence was actually pretty fun too. They have a good sequence. He does the Chris Benoit thing, where Strowman goes to throw him over. Seth applies that headlock in. He teeters Braun over the top rope. So now both of them are on the apron. He hits a few super kicks. Braun looks like he goes for a running power slam. Seth reverses. He shoves him into the post. He hits another kick into the gut of Strowman. Strowman now in curb stomp position, grabbing onto the bottom rope, about to lift himself up. Rollins off the apron runs, hits an awesome looking curb stomp off the apron, which knocks Strowman off the apron, and Rollins becomes the winner of the 2019 Men's Rumble, which obviously this has been reported for a bit that the match at Mania is going to be Rollins and Lesnar, which is something I'm really looking forward to as a match. The build, I'm a little bit worried for the build that they're going to do a Roman thing. I hope they don't incorporate Roman's illness in a way which is like distasteful, kind of the way they did with the feud with Ambrose. I hope they don't go down that path, but nonetheless, the match should be awesome. Brock has faced every single member of the Shield in one-on-one action at WrestleMania and beating them, besides Seth Rollins. I think the only time Brock's pinned Seth Rollins in that triple threat match in the Royal Rumble in 2015, he pinned with Cena. He pinned Rollins there, and then later that year, after Rollins cashed in at Mania, they had a 1v1 match, but that was interrupted by The Undertaker, who came in and took out Lesnar. So they never had a proper 1v1 match, one-on-one match, and for the Universal title, and hopefully for Lesnar's last match in the company for now. I think it's going to be pretty exciting. Pretty exciting match and a pretty exciting build. Obviously not the main event because the women have that spot. But nonetheless, as we've seen with the matches with AJ and Bryan, if Lesnar wants to go, that dude, he can really go, and he can really put the other guys over. And the way he works with smaller guys, he really makes it work. Anyways, overall, I thought this pay-per-view was pretty awesome. Best pay-per-view WWE's done in a while. TLC was pretty good. I think this was better. There's something about the allure of the Rumble. The Rumble is such a fun match. It's, as I said, my favorite pay-per-view of the year because it's always so exciting. Just wondering, who's gonna be next? Who's gonna win? What setups are they doing for the WrestleMania matches? So they had a lot of that here. They set up a lot of things for Mania. They set up the women's match for the Raw title against Rousey, with Becky and Rousey, and maybe Charlotte somewhere in there too. They set up something with Daniel with Eric Rowan coming out. They set up the Seth Rollins and Brock Lesnar match. They set up a rematch for Lesnar and Balor. Miz and Shane, they had their thing with the tag team champions. And Asuka comes out looking pretty dominating. So overall, I think the booking of the show is honestly pretty good. I don't think there's anyone that came out looking worse in this whole card. Everyone that lost, they didn't come out looking bad, since most of the people that won in here were over. The Bar came out looking pretty good. They did lose to Shane and Miz, but they didn't come out looking super or anything. Becky looked good, especially that she remade that battle. Balor looked pretty decent. AJ lost in a screwy finish, so he doesn't lose anything there. Sasha looked really good, and she sets up the 4 horsewoman thing for later. Anyways, guys, that's been my review of the WWE Royal Rumble 2019, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Goodbye.